Welcome in. It's day 248, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be going over a card game. Comes in a box, but it's a card game. It's an interesting little one. It kind of reminds me of Smash Up in a way, because of the idea that you're getting multiple factions and combining them to make your deck. The game is called Guardians. Now in Guardians, the idea is that there are 10 different heroes, each with a 6-card deck. You're going to take and randomly shuffle them and put out 8. And then start a drafting, where you're going to each draft 3 heroes. Once you do, the additional 2 you didn't pick, as well as the 2 that were not randomly selected, will be removed from the game. Now, you're going to take those 3 decks of 6 cards each, along with 6 additional cards that each player has as a basic set, shuffle them up, and have a unique deck. You're also going to have the stand-ins for each of your heroes, which were the 3 cards that were part of the group of 10 that were shuffled out randomly. Those are staying in front of you. Now you're going to shuffle up your locations. Now, for locations, they can be a value of 1, 2, or 3. You're going to shuffle these up, you're going to randomly place them out, and the only rule is you can't have the same value hit 3 times. So you could have a 1, a 2, a 3, and then a 1, a 2, or a 3 additionally, or you could have 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 1s, 2 3s. The only thing you can't have is 3 1s, 3 2s, or 3 3s. That's not allowed. Once you've randomly figured out your setup, you're now going to begin placing your heroes out into locations. These are your main hero cards. They're not part of your deck. You place it out, it shows control. Once you've done this, you're now going to begin the actual game. The game is that you're going to shuffle it up, and out of your cards of 24, you get 5 cards, and you're going to start playing for these abilities to go in and attack in these locations. Once you've gotten to how your cards work with affecting your scores, your power levels, attacking other players, getting control, you're going to find out who wins these locations. As locations are defeated, you get them and their points count for you, and new locations feed in. You're going to keep playing the game until somebody has gotten 10 points in locations, at which point the game ends. There's your winner. It's straightforward, it's simple, it's a fun little game. There's not a lot to it. It's not one that I would expect to be huge, but it's definitely enough that it's worthwhile if you're into kind of a sci-fi type theme. I like the fact that the theme is sci-fi because I don't have a lot of that kind of game. I'm more into the medieval, and I like to have dwarves and elves and stuff like that. So to get something like this is nice for my collection because I appreciate a good sci-fi game. I just don't have many. That being said, why don't we jump in? Let's talk about our 7 categories and see where this one lands for us. When it comes to the art, this was a random buy. I bought this because I was in a store looking for something, and I so happened to see this box, and it grabbed me. And I looked at the back, and I thought, that looks okay. You set it up. I think the inside of the box, maybe it's not quite as alluring, but it's still a great art. Thumbs up. Your components. It's only 2 pieces. You've got your cards, and you've got your cardboard pieces that represent when you are placing something on a card or a location, showing what is it going to be considered a control? Is it going to be something for a target? Is it going to be something for points? All of these are really good quality. Thumbs up. Your price. Again, this game was never huge. That being said, it did make it to stores. So you might only find this in 1, maybe 2 out of every 5 board game stores, but it is out there. I do think I've seen this at a Target before. I think it's more so because the game's on the cheaper side, and so it's not one that at Target they had to worry about somebody spending $60. This game's going to go for 20 to 30 at most. This is a reasonably lower priced game. It's not a lot in there. In fact, you really could have gotten away with getting it into a much smaller box. The box, 2/3 of it is just useless space. It's one of those down the center games where it's just cards and a little pack of pieces you need. They really could have done this in a much smaller container and even gotten it cheaper than they got it to. So it's something you might find in a store like that. And again, price is 20 to 30 at most. It's not that expensive. You're getting an okay game in this box. I think it's worthwhile. Thumbs up. Your difficulty. This is one that I think beginners and experienced players can enjoy. I think an expert may look at this and say it's a bit too easy for them. There's game here. It just may be one of those, well, I'd rather have a lot more options. So I think you lose them. And kids, it might be one where it's a little bit complicated because it's a lot of reading. And I think kids get a little annoyed having to read all the time. Every card has information on it. Every location has information on it. It's a little hard to follow if you're not into being willing to commit the time to read every turn, every card. That being said, I don't think it's one it's impossible for a 10-year-old to play. I think it is. It's just up to the average 10-year-old attention span. So for me, I think that you lose your experts, you're losing the majority of your kids, but you have the beginners and you have the experienced, and those are the groups that represent the majority here. So it's got to be a thumbs up. Replayability, the game doesn't take that long. It's like 30 minutes. So you can get 2 or 3 games in a session of this. And I think this is one that, well, you may not want to go after this on a regular weekly or monthly basis. It's a great fill-in game. Time to fill in between, before, after a game night or a game day type situation. So I think there's ways to get this to the table. Thumbs up. Keys to victory. You don't have to be the best. You can focus in to win one location. And if you're doing it the right way, you could be snagging locations for midpoints and be able to really compete. What's important to remember is that this game tends to be in 2, 4, or 6 player style because there is no multiplayer fight. It is a 1-on-1 battle, a 2-on-2 battle, or a 3-on-3 battle. And because of that, this becomes a tough game because it's always only one real true opponent that you're fighting with. It's your team versus their team. So I think that there is options here, but those options are a little tough to kind of navigate sometimes because you always are up against another team and not teams. In a multi-team, I think that you'd feel a lot more of the keys to victory. In a 1-on-1 or a 1-team versus 1-team battle, I think the keys to victory kind of dwindle a little bit, but they're still there. Thumbs up. Is it unique? To me, it's a nice looking theme, but the game feels like it's a trimmed down version of Smash Up. Smash Up does a better job at this, of combine these multiple factions, go in to fight for these locations. You can battle in a 2-player, 3-player, 4-player game. Honestly, if you're willing to deal with it, you can grab multiple things of Smash Up and really turn it into a 5 or 6, 7, 8-player game. You see the growing setup in Smash Up where it's 2 players plus an extra. That's how many locations. So 3 is a 4, 4 is a 5 location. So if you want to play 8, you just have 9 locations. There's a clear-cut building up there. It's just a lot to pay attention to. This game, I don't think is as easy to do that with because you literally are always in a 1 versus 1 or team versus team. But to me, it's not unique. Smash Up did it first and Smash Up did it better. So thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? It's a cute little game. If you don't have a big collection, or if you're really looking for a sci-fi game and you want something that's more beginner-esque, I think this is the one to go for. But in general, I don't recommend just going out and picking it up if you have a bigger collection, because I think it will get lost. It's not a bad game, but it got lost in my collection. It's not one I almost ever get to the table, and I honestly don't think I much will ever in the future. That being said, just try your best to go out there, look it up a little bit, find out how to play if you can, or see if a friend has it and you can sit down and play, because maybe it does hit for you. It's not bad for me, it just hasn't struck gold. Well, it has been day 248, and we've been speaking about the game Guardians, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and if you check down below in the description, I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.